Welcome back to Timeless Stories, where we share true stories that remind us of the goodness still left in the world. If you believe in the power of compassion and second chances, make sure to stay with us till the end of this story, because what starts with a $10 act of kindness turns into something truly life-changing. Our story begins on a chilly afternoon in a quiet town in Montana. The sky was gray, and the wind carried that sharp, restless cold that comes just before the first winter snow. Along the edge of a small road sat a little diner, the kind of place that smells like coffee and pancakes from a mile away. Inside, behind the counter, was an elderly woman named Eleanor. Eleanor was 74 years old, with silver hair always tied in a loose bun and a soft smile that never seemed to fade, even when times were tough. She had worked at that diner for more than 20 years, but lately life had been hard. Her husband had passed away a few years ago, and with no family nearby, Eleanor lived alone in a small house on the outskirts of town. Between rising bills and her limited income, she barely had enough to get by. Still, she always managed to keep a small envelope hidden in her purse, her emergency fund. On that day, it held only $10. It was all she had left until her next pension check. That afternoon, as the diner's clock ticked toward closing time, a group of bikers rolled down the highway. The deep roar of their engines echoed through the quiet town, turning heads as they passed. Among them was a tall man named Ethan, a rugged-looking biker with a leather jacket, a long beard, and a kind heart that most people couldn't see beneath his rough exterior. The group had been riding all morning and decided to stop at the diner for coffee and a quick meal before heading out again. As they parked their motorcycles and stepped inside, a few customers immediately grew nervous. Some even got up and left, but Eleanor didn't flinch. She greeted the bikers with her usual warm smile and said, "Find yourselves a seat, fellas. Coffee's fresh and hot." Ethan smiled back. "Thank you, ma'am," he said, tipping his head politely. The group settled into a booth, laughing and talking among themselves. They ordered coffee, eggs, and a few slices of pie. Nothing fancy, just something warm to fill their stomachs. Eleanor served them kindly, asking if they wanted refills and making sure everyone was comfortable. For a moment, the diner felt alive again, but as they were getting ready to leave, Ethan realized something. He had lost his wallet. He checked his pockets, his jacket, even his motorcycle outside. Nothing. He felt his stomach sink. He turned back to Eleanor, embarrassed. "Ma'am, I'm real sorry," he said quietly. "Looks like I lost my wallet somewhere on the road. I'll pay you back, I promise." Eleanor looked at him for a long moment. Then, without saying a word, she reached into her purse. She pulled out that small envelope, the one with her last $10, and handed it to him. "Here," she said softly. "This should cover your meal and maybe enough for some gas to get you home." Ethan blinked in disbelief. "Ma'am, I can't take that from you," he said, shaking his head. "You don't even know me." Eleanor smiled gently. "I don't need to know you to help you," she said. "If I were stranded somewhere, I'd hope someone would do the same for me. Now go on before the sun sets." Ethan hesitated, but eventually accepted the money, promising again that he'd return it. Eleanor just waved him off, saying, "Pay it forward someday. That's enough for me." The bikers thanked her and rode off into the distance. Eleanor watched them disappear, feeling a small ache in her heart. She knew that was all she had left, but she also knew she'd done the right thing. That night, she went home to her cold, quiet house, made herself a cup of tea, and whispered a small prayer that everything would somehow be all right. The next morning, Eleanor woke up early, just like always. She got ready for work, not expecting anything unusual. But as she approached the diner, she noticed something strange. The road outside was lined with motorcycles, dozens of them. The rumble of engines filled the air, and the entire diner parking lot was packed with bikers wearing leather jackets. For a moment, she was startled, even a little scared. But then she saw a familiar face, Ethan, walking toward her with a big smile. "Morning, ma'am," he said, grinning. "Hope you don't mind us showing up again." Eleanor chuckled nervously. Well, I'll have to make a lot more coffee if you're all hungry. Ethan shook his head. Actually, we're not here for breakfast this time. He motioned toward the group of bikers behind him, who were all holding something. Boxes, bags, and even tools. We're here for you. Eleanor frowned in confusion. For me, Ethan nodded. You gave me your last $10 yesterday, didn't you? You didn't ask for anything in return. You helped a stranger because it was the kind thing to do. That meant a lot to me and to every single one of these riders. So, we decided to do something for you. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small envelope thick with cash. We passed the hat around last night, shared your story online, and the response was incredible. People from all over sent in donations. We raised more than $15,000. Eleanor gasped, her hands trembling. Oh my goodness, I can't accept that. It's too much. Ethan smiled and gently placed the envelope in her hands. Yes, you can. You've spent your life helping others. It's time someone helped you. We're not done yet, either. He gestured toward the street, where a truck pulled up towing a small, freshly painted house trailer. We heard your house isn't in the best shape, so we got you this, fully furnished, stocked with food, and ready to live in. You'll never have to worry about bills or heat again. Eleanor covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face. I don't know what to say, she whispered. Ethan smiled softly. Just say thank you, and maybe make us a cup of that famous coffee again. The bikers all cheered and clapped. Some of them hugged her, others shook her hand, and one of them even brought a basket filled with groceries and baked goods. The entire diner parking lot became a celebration, laughter, gratitude, and the sound of roaring engines blending together like a song. Later that day, after everyone had gone, Eleanor sat inside her new trailer, looking around in disbelief. For the first time in years, she felt warm. She made herself a pot of coffee, sat down by the small window, and watched the sunset. The sky was glowing gold and pink, and the world felt peaceful. She thought about the bikers, about Ethan, and how kindness really does come back in the most unexpected ways. That night, she wrote a small note and taped it to the diner's window. It read, "To whoever reads this, never think your kindness is too small to matter. What you give freely from your heart will always find its way back to you." Over the next few weeks, the story spread across social media and news outlets everywhere. People were inspired by the woman who gave her last $10 to a stranger and how a group of bikers returned that kindness 100-fold. Letters and donations poured in from around the country, each one carrying a message of love, gratitude, or hope. Eleanor used part of that money to repair her old home and donated the rest to help other seniors in her community. As for Ethan and his biker group, they continued their rides across the country, but now they rode with a purpose. They started a charity called Wheels of Hope, helping struggling families and veterans wherever they went. Every time they helped someone, Ethan would smile and say, "It all started with a woman named Eleanor and $10. In her little trailer, Eleanor lived the rest of her days surrounded by friends, letters, and memories of the kindness she had once given, without expecting anything in return. She always said that the greatest wealth in life isn't money, it's compassion. Because compassion is the one thing that, when shared, always grows. And maybe that's the lesson this story leaves us with today, that no act of kindness, no matter how small, ever goes unnoticed. The world has a beautiful way of giving back, especially when we least expect it. Soft music swells and fades. Thank you for watching Heartfelt Kindness. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue sharing real stories of love, hope, and humanity. Until next time, keep being kind, because kindness truly makes the world go round.